Hello there, it's Panixa. So Wuthering Waves has just very recently teased Phrolova, the brand new character who'll be coming in Wuthering Waves patch 2.5. So let's take a look at her. Let's take a look. So her quote is, "Let us finish this performance we've all been waiting for together." So looking at this splash art is quite honestly insane and like super chaotic, which is, I feel like, Philova's nature a bit. We go in and look here. You got the quote here. She's a 5-star. She's gonna be, I'll touch on that later. But see here, we have the shattered glass up top. Things are breaking, chaos everywhere. We got instruments on the ground. Like we got a French horn here, trumpet here. Looks another French horn. That looks like to be a harp. Saxophone right there. Other stuff. Then you got Phrolova herself. So in the center here, this mini portrait is her smiling, pretty like with a pretty crazy smile. Whereas in the background, she has her blindfold off, which we have not seen her without at all. And looks like she is, to say it bluntly, depressed. Let's just call it depressed. She looks a bit depressed. And also, there's a ton of these flowers, these licorice flowers, reminds me of Licorice Recoil, the anime, but I digress. So yeah, this looks utterly stunning, this entire splash art. And we, like, Phrolova is, hasn't really shown up, she's shown up a bit in the story, but we just don't know that much about her. She's like still extremely mysterious. So I'm like excited to see how is she gonna fare, story wise, how she'll be like introduced, her backstory, because just this alone, I'm pretty convinced she's gonna have a pretty sad and depressing backstory. I'm pretty sure, which I don't know, maybe is a motivation for her joining the Fractsidus and causing the chaos that she already does, as seen here. But yeah, looks amazing. I have no idea what this symbol here is, but probably the Fractsidus symbol. You know how they like you have the Runacida symbol, the Huang Long symbol. So this is probably the symbol for Fractsidus. Which, speaking of which, it's crazy that they have teased Frolova, okay, right? They've even teased Cristoforo, accidentally on JP, but they have not teased Scar at all, which is crazy. He is the OG Fractsidus character that we've been introduced to, but they have not teased him yet. Like, I swear, if we didn't know any better, Scar is probably dead or something. Or he's just stuck in that prison forever. I have no clue why. He's just dead. But that's like the big splash art we have for her. This is her. Ooh, amazing music. Very definitely reminiscent of someone taking the final stage. Yeah. The licorice gently swaying her in her hand, she leads the notes of the melody as if conducting an orchestra. These tunes soon as her weapons. Frequency of grassroots child. Oh, does look like she's like holding it. Hold better word. She's holding it somewhat like a conductor, which I mean she does do that in the story as well. Holds that licorice flower as if she's a conductor. So we got some more information on her. She's gonna be a Havoc Rectifier. Havoc was kind of pretty obvious from her design point, as well as we've gotten a ton of Spectral characters recently with Zani and Phoebe. We've just got an Arrow character. We're gonna get a Fire character very soon with Lupa. And what? There's no way this design indicates like lightning or anything else. So yeah, Havoc was very expected, you could say. And Rectifier also, kind of expected because there's no way she would be like a broad blades user or a gun user or maybe even a sword user, you know? So like yeah, Rectifier also kind of makes complete sense. Also, she's gonna be the only character for unlimited character for 2.5, which thank God. Thank God there's only one character, because now us free to plays we have time to breathe. You know, we've been drained from us, and also spenders have been drained with Cartathea and Lupa who's coming up. So yeah, I definitely will be on the lookout. Yeah, I might get her. I honestly at this point for me, it's either a toss up between Phrolova or Lupa. You know, either Fire or Havoc. I'm at to see. But yeah, another trailerish. Yeah, just the element and weapon reveal. So yeah, so she is gonna be Havoc. So just up here we have, oh shoot, just over here we have like all the Havoc characters. Havoc Overclose, Tao Chi, who to be honest at this point is pretty much a non-existent character in terms of like meta and story. I mean, it still can be used, but yeah. Danjin, the best character in all of Wuthering Waves. Danjin. You have Camellia, Cantarell, and Rocha. So, given that we like the two recent releases for Havoc, the two most recent Havoc releases were Cantarell and Rocha, I do believe that Phrolova is probably going to be a main DPS because Camellia, who is the main DPS, came out all the way in I believe 1.4, and now it's about to be 2.5. So it kind of makes sense that she would be a DPS. You know, I don't really see her as being a sub DPS or like a DPS that isn't like used on field that much. You know, like Rocha is not a main DPS at all. She's a sub DPS. She goes on field, does her thing really quickly, builds her forte, and then swaps out. Whereas Donjin and Camellia, they can be used as main DPS. Camellia, especially, she stays on field for a very long time. So I do imagine Belova replacing her, and not necessarily replacing her, but being another main DPS character of that sort. But yeah, and also the fact that she's rectifier. Also, yeah, I don't think if I serve. Let me see. There isn't really that many DPS rectifiers. Like you have Baiji, and Verena for the healers plus Shortkeeper. You have Encore and Phoebe who are like DPSs or hybrids. Cantarella is also DPS hybrid. Yinlin and Jeji also DPS and hybrid. Okay, so yeah, but I don't know. Based off what I said, I think Phrolova will be like a strict main DPS character. You know, with maybe some optional like off meta, off brand, sub DPS. You know, like for example, Camellia. Oh shoot, Camellia is just a main DPS, pure in heart, like a pure main DPS. She can be used sub DPS wise, you know, in a sub DPS role with quick swap, but it's not really that common. Whereas on the other hand, these other characters like Cantarella, Jeji, Yinlin, they don't really stay on field for too long necessarily, you know. Even Phoebe, she used to be a main DPS, but then we have Zani who kind of overshadowed her, at least in the main DPS role. She's still an amazing sub, but yeah, that's pretty much it. I cannot wait for Phrolova 2.5, patch 2.5. Wuthering Waves has just been cooking this entire time. You know, 2.0 was absolutely amazing. 2.1, a little bit of like a break. So it is what it is, a small break. Then we have 2.2, absolutely goated patch, absolutely goated. Then we had 2.3, which anniversary patch. We don't really talk about the anniversary patch. Slightly disappointing. But then we have 2.4 currently we're in, which is weird. They had 2.2, which is absolute number one banger. Then we have 2.3, which is kind of mid. And then we have 2.4, which is also an absolute banger. And 2.5 also looks like to be an absolute banger because with Furlova becoming a playable character, we're definitely going to be getting a bunch of like quests, whether it be main story quests or side story quests, that is gonna explore the lore of Phrolova and the Fraxidus, her role in Rena Cedar, her backstory. and all that. There's gonna be a ton of story, a ton of lore, I know for sure, even if it's not a main story quest. You know, similar to how the Cantarella story, you know, Cantarella story quest was personally my number one favorite story quest, because while it just wasn't just a side story quest, it was a side story quest that was like very well explained that happened, the events of like 2.2 and the rest of the main story. You know, it served as like a really nice like reveal moment, you could say, for the Cantrell household, which is very important to the lore and also the story mentioned multiple times in 2.2 with the Avenolium and stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I will definitely be trying to pull this character if I can. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. See you later.